Ellen Matt Berry back with you here on SportsCenter. You know, everyone knows after the factor, right? Like that's someone who says after a surprising result that they called it all along and they offer no evidence of their foresight besides, their word. Connor Whitehall is not one of those people. Thanks to a school project, he correctly predicted something that hasn't happened in over a century, 7 full months before it actually did.
Welcome to my Masterworks project video. So I took statistics from all fields of baseball, batting, pitching, fielding, and put them all up into one Connor curve. This spreadsheet allows me to create all these algorithms that weight the numbers. So I gave pitching 50% of a team's success, batting 45% of a team's success, and fielding only 5% of a team's success. Then I get a number on a scale of 0 to 100. And now with these numbers we've generated, we can pick division winners, wildcard teams, and even the world champion. I predict that the winner of the National League will be the Chicago Cubs, the winner of the American League will be the Cleveland Indians, and the winner of the World Series will be the Chicago Cubs.
And again, he posted that to YouTube this time last year. Connor Whitehall is with us now. Connor, I had a chance to talk with you about 6 months or so ago when the Connor curve became famous. What's life been like for you since then?
It's been good. Thank you for having me back. It's good to talk with you. Yeah, I've been enjoying myself, enjoying my new school, and I'm excited for the new baseball season.
Yeah, are you the big man on campus because you're the dude on SportsCenter at 14 and no one else is?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely been fun seeing my classmates' reactions.
Yeah, I love your age, because if you weren't 14, I'd say it's probably resulted in a lot of phone numbers, but that's neither here nor there. Connor, before we get your predictions and before we reveal your AL division winners, I do want to ask you this. Mike Trout won AL MVP last season, and yet you have the Angels finishing last in their division. Why is that?
Yeah, so after some research on the Angels, I found that their pitching was very subpar last year. They finished second to last in the majors in the statistics of xFIP and WAR, which I believe are very important in evaluating pitching. So because of that, and even though Mike Trout is an amazing player, I do believe that he's going to need pitchers in order to back him up if they want to succeed.
It is important. Let's take a look at those AL division winners right now. And the folks at home, you obviously know who you picked, but for the folks at home, what stood out to you among those teams? This is just the West.
So, just the West. So, in the West, I picked the Houston Astros to win. And they kind of surprised me, but when I was looking at their numbers, I found that they actually had a surprisingly good bullpen last year. They finished best in the majors for those same statistics, xFIP and WAR. And if you take into account that they play in a very hitter-friendly ballpark, it makes that feat all the more amazing. So I think that if their bullpen can hold it together in the 9th inning, which they didn't do that well last season, and if new players like Correa and Bregman can continue to grow, they should have a good shot at winning that division.
All right, let's show the National League some love. We thought with the Mets getting their pitching healthy that they might have overtaken the Nationals in the NL East, but what did your numbers show?
So yeah, the Mets pitching is amazing, and with Harvey, it's going to only get better. However, I do believe that they still have some offensive issues that they need to address. They're still 25th in the league in average, and if they want to contend with other really high-quality teams like the Cubs and the Indians, they're going to have to improve that. And although they were able to re-sign Cespedes, they didn't really add anyone else in order to stimulate their lineup. So I believe that the Nationals' all-around team is going to eventually surpass them.
Okay, let's take a look at some of those other NL division winners, and we'll start with the NL West, and you tell us what stood out to you among these teams.
So yeah, in the NL West, the Dodgers are predicted to finish just above the Giants after a close race. I just think that the Dodgers' starting rotation is just so strong and so consistent that they're going to be able to surpass them. And in the NL Central, we have the Cubs with another dominant victory over the Cardinals, which kind of surprised me considering that they did lose some key players like Arnoldus Chapman and Dexter Fowler, but I do believe that new free agents and bench players are going to be able to step up and hold down that division.
And in the NL East, as you just said, you have Washington in your NL East. And then what's the final one? World Series. All the marbles. Who you got?
So
who's going? Why?
So we have the Cleveland Indians defeating the Boston Red Sox in order to clinch their way to represent the AL in the World Series. I just think that they've got such a strong all-around team, and with new players like Edwin Encarnacion, it's their pennant to lose. And although this breaks my heart to say as a Giants fan, I think that the Dodgers will defeat the Chicago Cubs to clinch their way to the World Series. Now, I think I chose this for two reasons. One, they've just got such a strong starting rotation that I believe will carry them throughout that series. And two, the Dodgers are just so due. Now, I try to rely on numbers, but the Dodgers have had it together for so many years. In fact, they've been the only team the past 4 years to have 91-plus wins. So they've had all the pieces to the puzzle. They just haven't been able to put it together. And I believe that this is the year that the Dodgers finally get it all together and make that great run into the postseason.
We saw a long drought end last year, and Connor seems to think that the Indians are going to be the World Series champions this year. Little revenge, if you will, from last year's loss in the World Series. Connor, here's the cool thing about SportsCenter. You have awesome predictions, and we appreciate those. And then we go to, like, one of the GOATs to kind of, right? To sort through what you said, Matt Berry.
It's like looking at Tim Kirchin in the mirror when he was 14 years old. Let's bring him in and get his reaction, our baseball insider. Tim Kirchin joining us this morning. Connor has the Indians beating the Dodgers. Tim Kirchin, your reaction to that World Series prediction?
Well, he might be right in the end, and the fact that he got it right last year is just amazing. I don't know anyone else that had the Indians going to the World Series at the beginning of the season. And I can certainly see a Dodgers-Indians World Series as Connor predicted. I think there are a whole bunch of other variables that could happen, but he's a pretty impressive young kid. He's got some interesting ideas. He uses an algorithm, which most of us don't know how to do. And so he's got a chance to grow up and be just like me, and he won't even have to grow.
Yeah, I mean, how about that? I mean, he's already up on you 1-0 there. What's your World Series pick?